Hello and welcome to my video. Today I want to show you my ongoing game with PSV in the Dutch league. I have showed this before, but actually today with a focus on players that I think you should buy. I have made a video about this already. Young players, cheap players when you start a new game, but this is just to prove my point, so to speak, and let you see how are those players actually turning out when you play some years. Right now I've played around, this is the 5th season, and things are going well. It took me actually a while to get, you know, into the league in a good way. I think Ajax is very good when you start, but right now things are good. 3 losses in 20 games and so on. And I also won the league last year, and I won the Dutch Cup 4 years in a row, and I'm in the semi-finals in the Champions League. So things are looking good. I think the team is pretty good. It's a mix of young players, cheap players that you need to buy when you start, and then some really good players that PSV already has when you start the game, which is pretty good. Those players are Mark van Bommel, Boma, Lamé, and they also have a transfer coming within 6 months with Robben when you start the game. So you don't really need to buy those. You already have them, and they are actually pretty good, all of them. But I have a lot of players in my squad right now that are the cheap players that I recommend when you start. And this is to show you how good they actually are when you play 4 or 5 years. So some of them, I mean, it could be fun to go back to the first season. Was all the transfers I made in the first season. And if you look at it's a lot of players. And it wasn't because I wanted to buy a whole new team. It's because those players are really good. And they are cheap. So I'm not sure how. So if you look at the amount of players, those were the players I sold the first season. It's more or less the same, but I got double the amount of players, and many of these players are actually still in my squad, and that is actually the most important thing, because you have players like Tomadera. He's still in my team right now. He's a backup. He's really good. Look at the first season he had. And Kiotis, I've just sold him actually. I had him for 4 years, but eventually I had 4 goalkeepers. That was too much. Hugo Pinheiro, another goalkeeper. He is actually my first goalkeeper right now. He's very good and he's very cheap. You can see how many goals he has conceded here. And here the best player by far in this game, Tsigalko. You can, I mean, he has almost reached 200 goals for me in 5 seasons. So it's insane. Kim Kjellström, I sold him this season also. Boomsong, Aghahowa, insanely good. Please, if you want Aghahowa, you need to buy him. When you more or less when you start the game, because many clubs are going to buy him if you don't buy him, and he will increase in value straight away. Okoronko, Mark Kerr, and he's actually very good right now. Then Robben and Lamé, those were bought by PSV and not me. So if we have a look at the players here, 2 of them are sold, the rest is still in my team 5 years later, and they are very cheap. If you remove Robben and Lamé here, it's like you have those players here are almost free. So I'm buying those 3. I could highlight also Costanzo, Ndiaye, and Mexis. Mexis, everybody knows him, right? He's going to be a big profile. I actually got him very cheap also from Auxerre. Ndiaye, pretty good defensive midfield player. And Costanzo, one more goalkeeper. Nico Kranka, 16 years old when you start the game. He can be pretty good. But it depends on if there's room in your team for him. If he don't place these stats, and that's not weird, right? Because he will never be any better if you don't place. And in my squad, I don't really have place for him, because right now I'm, selling players, earning a lot of money, and I have bought Alan Smith from Leeds and Pablo Aimar from Valencia. And those are the players that I couldn't buy those players when I started, But now things are going good in the Champions League. I have a lot more money, and you know, my team is performing, so now I can buy better players. But I think still, even with better players in my squad and the ability to buy better players, the ones I bought in the first season are still the best I have. So if I should highlight maybe 3 players, it would be Tsigalko for sure, number 1. Kerr, and probably Aghahowa. Those 3 are insane, and I would recommend to buy them all day long. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope it would be fun. Let me know if you usually buy some of these players. That would be pretty fun to know. And also if you have players that you usually buy, like I have, but is not in my squad or isn't in my video around players you need to buy. Because there are a lot of good young players and cheap players when you start. Also like free players. I'm going to do a video around free players when the game starts. Because that's also a good way to you know, have a good start in a new team, bringing on some free players. But I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you will subscribe so we can keep on doing these videos. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe.